you company this Ramadan.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to News and Views on Salam Media. Listeners, I have a treat in store for you. We're very, very honored to welcome my good friend and award-winning author, publisher, and editor, Zukiswa Waner. Zukiswa Waner is both Zimbabwean and South African, has lived in various places on the African continent, and is very much a Pan-Africanist. And also, with her in studio is Mohamed Abla, an Egyptian artist of note, a visual artist of note. You'll see some of his paintings featured in the background quite soon, but it lies to me now to welcome you both, Mohamed and Zukiswa. Thank you for joining us this morning. We're very, very honored to have you and to unpack your thoughts about what is going on in Palestine, in other parts of the world like DRC and Sudan on our own continent, and of course to unpack why both of you decided to return your Goethe Medal. I'm going to start with you, Zukiswa. You were the 2020 recipient of the Goethe Medal and the first African woman to ever receive it. So how did that feel, and why did you decide to return it?
Well, it felt really overwhelming. It was during the lockdown. So receiving it actually meant that I received it from the German embassy in Nairobi, where I was during lockdown. And well, it felt like an immense honor at that time. And returning it felt like the right thing to do, on account of the fact that I couldn't, in reading that I had received this from the German government, this same German government that has been complicit in at least 3 genocides in the world. Firstly, the Herero Nama in Namibia, as well as the Maji Maji in Tanzania, and now again the Holocaust. And they were being responsible for another genocide by being one of the biggest arms exporters to Israel. And we're seeing every day is devastation. I put on my phone, I check YouTube, I check Instagram, and I'm hearing more and more deaths. How are they okay with this? So that was a very easy decision for me to make. And I think if I hadn't seen the UNHCR report, I really believe I should have done it much earlier.
Yes, we applaud you for that decision, quite frankly, Zukiswa. I was so immensely touched when you did that. And I know I'm not the only one, that you actually, gave back what was essentially an honor to you by another state because of its complicity in an ongoing genocide, because it is one of the top 2 suppliers of arms to Israel, etc. And I'd like to bring in Mohamed at this point. Mohamed, can you tell us, was it Zukiswa's decision, or had you been thinking about this on your own bat to actually return your medal as well? Because I see that you did that pretty much within 24 hours of her announcement.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. Of course, I did it, I think, 24 hours after Zuki's, because, I was thinking before what to do. From the first day of the conflict, the German was clear. They say it very clear from the first moment they are supporting Israel. Mm-hmm. I got feeling I have to do something. It took me time because I was in Egypt the whole 4 months. And last month I have been in Europe, and then I saw the demonstration everywhere. And because it is more obvious, and when are you in Europe, you can see this. In Egypt, I was watching this in TV, but to see it live and to talk with people in Europe, many people who they had the same opinion. They are not. They don't agree what the German government do. So Suki encouraged me, really. Yes.
That's fantastic. And kudos to you both. Halala, congratulations to you both for doing this. Zuki, I'd like to actually ask you to elaborate a little bit about what you've said you had been witnessing in the run up to this decision about the silencing of protest in Germany, the silencing of artistic and creative expression and freedom of expression in Germany.
There'd been quite a lot of that happening. We saw, an artist, a curator, an angel player who is Haitian origin but stays
Mhm.
in the US, being removed as curator of Folkwang Museum because he essentially was one of the people who said free Palestine. We
Yes.
saw a Palestinian writer, and
Mhm.
perhaps this was right at the beginning, actually, a Palestinian writer who was told that she could no longer attend uh, Frankfurt Book Fair
Book
because
festival.
she had not, because she was Palestinian, and they said, "Oh, you can no longer attend," and she was supposed to win a prize and get a prize given. We saw a German writer of Ghanaian origin being removed, not getting, having a prize taken from her on account of the fact that she signed a letter saying Free Palestine. We saw documenters, a curator, documenter, and the whole board coming down, because they say the same thing. And this was because he compared what Israel is doing to what the Hindu nationalists are doing in India, what Modi is doing.
Mhm.
And we saw him being removed. And it felt in some way um, like the German government is absolutely fine with like fascism is their thing, you know? Um, like, how can you be complicit in you are the people who said never, never again, and yet you are responsible for fascism again. You're responsible for genocide happening. You're okay with white South Africans. You're okay with white Europeans. You're okay with white Americans going into Israel and committing these horrendous crimes against people. And I mean, ultimately, if Germany was, for instance, acting in this way because they felt so guilty, hey, why haven't they given part of their land to Israel and
That's a
made it?
very good question. That's a great question, Zukiswa, and one I'd challenge the German government to actually answer. Mohammed, I'd like to know from you, is there similar shutting down of expression in Egypt? Because we know that the Egyptian people are very pro-Palestinian, but that the Egyptian state is not necessarily so.
I mean, it's also in Germany. If you talk to the German people, the majority of the German people where I met, I lived in Germany for a long time, and I have
Mhm.
a lot of many German friends, not only in Egypt, and in Egypt and Germany and Switzerland, and many. The normal people, they are really against what's going on. In Egypt is the same. The majority, of course, it's more in Egypt because in Gaza there are many families in Gaza that are originally Egyptian or the opposite. So it is not only sympathy with them; it is they are our people. So,
Mhm.
but of course, it's not easy now for the government to show more because Egypt has a peace agreement with Israel and
Unfortunately, yes.
yeah, and it prevents Egypt of taking يعني harder decision also. Sometimes I can understand this. Most of the time I don't, but sometimes I can understand this. So the people, of course, here and everywhere, we can see now in all demonstration around the world how people react. So people not actually the same opinion like governments.
Okay, I'd like to pose a question to you both. How important do you think it is for artists such as yourselves, visual artists such as you, Mohamed Abla, and a written word and spoken word artist such as yourself, Zukiswa, to stand in solidarity with oppressed peoples on the one hand, and how important do you think it is, because we're from the outside, right? How important do you think it is for the artists and creatives living under oppression to actually see the solidarity from the outside and experiencing it? I know you, Zukiswa, have been at Palfest, for example, and you saw how that has helped local writers to find their voices, as it were. So either one of you want to jump in here? Perhaps we can go to you, Zukiswa, and then pose the same question to Mohammed.
I think it's immensely important. I don't know whether I've posted about this. On Sunday, I was at South African Broadcasting Corporation Studios, and I was doing a morning live regarding Johannesburg Festival of Women Writers. And the last question that was posed to me was about my giving up the Guti medal. And I remember as I got out, there was a man who had been in the green room with me, and he said to me, "Listen, I've got something to show you." And he showed me this letter, and this letter was a letter that they had written on the 7th of March, where they'd been invited to Orlando Fringe Festival, and they are a gospel choir, and he was there to promote their new single. And their letter was essentially saying, no, we're no longer coming. We don't want to be part of this because your country, the United States, is complicit in a genocide. We've seen Irish musicians withdraw from events on stage because they're like, no, they can't do this. We have seen, so this solidarity is important. A cultural boycott is very important. As much as I think it's part of the BDS really, and I should know with our history in South Africa that I personally believe that part of the reason why we ended up having elections in 1994 or 1990 where sanctions were lifted and exiles could come home was precisely because the apartheid regime was hurting,
Absolutely.
financially, because
Absolutely. Totally agree.
companies that were aligned to South Africa, uh, uh, players couldn't play. I mean, we've just seen, we saw recently on the 12th, a Palestinian football player just got killed,
Yeah.
uh, and we all have his video, and the idea that the FIFA president is going to Israel in light of that is just absolutely horrendous, because they didn't have a problem with removing Russia from FIFA, with not
Mm-hmm.
allowing Russia to FIFA. So at this point in time, I'm like, all these institutions that keep supporting the genocide, perhaps it's time that we start calling on SAFA to say, well, you know what, SAFA, why don't you pull out of
Mm-hmm.
FIFA, and
Mm-hmm.
all thinking football associations, all your main football associations, pull out of SAFA, pull out of FIFA, and then we have an alternative. You know, they really
Absolutely.
need a football association.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. We are going to be unpacking the issue of boycott, sanctions, divestment, including cultural, sporting, and academic boycotts later in the week. Mohammed, over to you in terms of the importance of creatives such as yourself showing solidarity, and also in an psychosocial sense, supporting the creatives within the oppressed areas.
I mean, of course, it's a duty for everybody really to stand with those poor Palestinians, and especially artists, because artists are we can say they are expressing the common soul of society, and I am trying through my work, through my being, also how I behave, to show this solidarity. And I see it, many Egyptian artists and even writers and artists who work in the media and cinema, and so they are showing, I mean, as far as I can, because it's not easy, because we cannot really speak up freely on the media. But we are trying also. Artists has a different means to and ways to show, and of course, to be an visual artist, I can show my my opinion through my work using symbols, but it is also very important to show hard reaction like we did. So artist is not only producing art, painting or sculpture. He also, through his way of living it, through his decision and in which side he stands, that's also a kind of solidarity. So artists.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have some of your beautiful artwork in the background there. We do have to go for an ad break. Unfortunately, we have to pay the bills here, but we'd like to continue with this conversation after the ad break and wrap it up before I let you both go.
Okay.
Your spiritual companion this Ramadan.
Dad, these Frymax chips are so tasty.
Wow, that really takes me back. My dad bought me a Frymax chips every day after school. They were my favorite when I was your age as well. Quality is at the very heart of what we do, and that's why we ensure that every Frymax packet is filled with the beautiful goodness and flavor-packed taste that you've come to expect from us since 1982. Frymax, from generation to generation.
In the Eastern Cape, a single mother and her 3 daughters face a week without food. Last year, 15,000 children were hospitalized for severe malnutrition. With a 60% unemployment rate, the crisis deepens. But you can light the way. This Ramadan, your support can turn despair into hope. The Al Fida Foundation is on the ground providing vital aid. Join us in the fight against hunger and use your zakat to feed Muslim families in Gqeberha and rural Eastern Cape. Send us an email at alfida@telkomsa.net or contact us at 041 484 1288 for Section 18A tax certificates or enquiries. The Al Fida Foundation, together turning compassion into action.
Shimmer, sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness. And every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, where timeless dreams become a reality. Come to us. We tailor-make designer gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and free zakat calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031 208 9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
Ramadan, a month to go beyond our ordinary, praying more, giving more, connecting more. Join Africa Muslims Agency to feed the fasting for 110 Rand per day, provide a grocery hamper for 1,600 per month, and feed a village or camp for 17,000 Rand per day. Every donation goes beyond just food and water. It transforms lives, empowers communities, and brings the spirit of Ramadan to thousands in need. Together, we can bring hope to families in Gaza, South Africa, Mozambique, and 18 other countries. This Ramadan, go beyond with AMA for a better world.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath his serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042 203 1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
You are listening to Salam Media live from our headquarters in South Africa. This is Salam Media, keeping you company this Ramadan.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to News and Views. We're talking with Zukiswa Waner and Mohamed Abla, both of them recipients of the Goethe Medal from Germany, and both of whom returned their medals in protest at the complicity of the German government in the ongoing genocide in Gaza. As Zukiswa has said, the fourth genocide that Germany has been complicit in or involved in over the last 120 years. Now, Zukiswa, I'm going to come back to you very quickly to wrap up, but I really, really want to encourage people to read your fabulous essay called Vignettes of a People in an Apartheid State, published after you visited the West Bank. And I'm just going to quote from there. You say that in a world where Palestine should be a wound on the conscience of every human being with an ounce of humanity, we shut our eyes and cover our ears. Zukiswa, as somebody who has herself been a refugee of sorts, tell us a little bit about this experience. And really, I really want people to go and read this essay. It is phenomenal.
The festival was started by an Egyptian writer who I know Mr. Abla is familiar with, and Adaf Suf. And Palestinians are not allowed to travel across checkpoints without permission from Israel. So pretty much like apartheid, Bantustans in our time. So the festival actually goes to different cities, and we were in. So we started off in Ramallah, after the Israelis had permitted us to enter, and I remember how much time we spent at the border with Jordan, but started in Ramallah, then we went to Nabi Saleh, where that young warrior queen Ayat stays, and her dad just showed us around, and he showed us where the settlements were, and we left Nabi Saleh, and then we went to East Jerusalem, and from East Jerusalem we did Hebron. From Hebron we did part of our team went to Haifa, another team went to Bethlehem. I went to Bethlehem myself because I was going with the Palestinian women writers, Ibtisam Azem, Ayat Tamimi, and Isabella Hamid, who is currently shortlisted for the longlisted for the Women's Prize, rather. So and everywhere we went, I think everywhere we went, in East Jerusalem, Mohamed El-Kurd, who is twins with Maimuna El-Kurd, both activists, and Mohamed is a poet, showed us their home in Sheikh Jarrah, and how there is a settler in the home, and there are Zionist organizations that are funding the settler in the home, who is a crook from New Jersey, but he gets money to be in these people's homes. And And directly opposite, there is another house that has already been taken over. There's a house that protested, and but they were put out, and the Israeli occupying forces essentially put these people out. And I think then in Hebron, one of the most chilling things happened, because the first thing that I saw when we entered Hebron, the first thing we saw was an IOF guy holding a gun to children. 3 children were coming from, 4 children were coming from school. And, when we saw them coming, we asked them what had happened. And they informed us that a checkpoint had just been put while they were in school. And now their home from school was 200 meters away. They had to walk 1.2 kilometers to get home. So, yeah.
That's not an unusual story at all. Zukiswa, I wish we could talk longer. We'll perhaps try to bring you back to talk about some of these issues again if we can, and if you're available. Unfortunately, our time is pretty much up. Any last words for our viewers? Let's go to Mohamed Abla, and then we'll come back to you, to Zukiswa, to wrap up.
Last word. I mean, it's the way is not so easy to go through for Palestinian, for people like us around the world, because we are fighting against a great construction of money and weapons and power, and people trying to change history and to play with others' mind. So it is a long process, and we have to go on and don't really give up and don't lose hope, because it is a long process for everybody who has really a human conscious and he can feel the others. So the Palestinians, they are suffering, and many people around the world, they have to show that their solidarity with Palestinians.
Indeed. Thank you very much for your solidarity, Mohammed, and Ramadan Kareem to you for the rest of the month of Ramadan. May your struggles inspire other artists to also stand up in solidarity with the cause of the oppressed Palestinians and oppressed peoples everywhere. Zukiswa, last word from you.
Boycott, diverse, sanction. It actually works. And importantly, we need to understand as Africans that a free Palestine frees us all, as Mo just mentioned. We're fighting against capitalism and military-industrial complex. The weapons that are tested on Palestinians are the ones that are given to warlords in DR Congo, in Sudan, in Nigeria with Boko Haram. So in Somalia. So we need to understand that this is also our struggle. We don't need weapons. We need people to eat. We need food. And of course, if any of us are able to assist, please donate to some of the organizations that are giving. I know Gift of the Givers and Penny Save SA, 2 organizations that are actually doing something for Gaza. So yes, please, during this month of Ramadan.
Thank you so much for that. Ramadan Kareem to you as well, Zukiswa. You are a sister in so many ways that I think I'm quite happy to say that to you. I want to once again encourage listeners to read your vignettes of a people in an apartheid state. Thank you both so very much for being with us today, for highlighting these issues. We're going to be talking to the author of the Palestine Lab later this week, where exactly what Zukiswa has just said about testing weapons on Palestinians and then selling those weapons to warmongers in other parts of the world has become such a norm. So thank you for highlighting that, Zukiswa, and thank you both for being with us today, for taking the time out. I know it's not always easy to come out early in the morning. We really, really were honored to have you, and we're so very proud of you both for the stance that you've taken. Shukran jazilan. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody.